The government has raised the minimum wage for security guards to 30,000 shillings, which is an increase of up to 270% for some guards in parts of the country. In a legal notice by Fazul Mohammed, the Director General of Private Security Regulatory Authority, there is now the mandatory requirement for guards to undergo training, which culminates in the issuance of a certificate without which one is not allowed to practice. Let's sample the legal notice and some contexts. Private Security Regulatory Authority has commenced nationwide registration, licensing and issuance of guard force numbers to individual private security service providers. The guard force number is the only proof that a private security officer has been duly registered and licensed by the authority. It is mandatory requirement for all individual private security officers or private security guards to undergo training in security matters in an institution accredited by the authority as a prerequisite requirement for registration and licensing. And the offences are as below: operating as a private security service provider without being the holder of a valid training certificate from an institution accredited by the authority, operating as a private security service provider without being registered by the authority. And as for the penalty, liable to a fine or to both such fine and imprisonment in the case of a natural person and 2 million shillings in the case of a corporate.
Bawabu wameumia miaka mingi sana wakipata mishahara duni, hakuna mambo ya overtime, environment ya kazi, na wamekuwa na mizigo mikubwa.
When it comes to the take-home, basic minimum monthly wages for all private security officers or private security guards operating in Kenya should get a gross pay of 30,000 shillings or a net pay of 26,415 shillings and 25 cents. Looking into the higher minimum wage for guards, starting off with Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, the existing wage is 15,201 shillings 65 cents for a day watchman and 16,959 shillings for a night watchman. As per the new monthly pay, 30,000 shillings for a day watchman and 30,000 shillings for the night watchman. In former municipalities, town councils, the existing wage for a day watchman is 14,025 shillings and 40 cents, and for a night watchman it's 15,722 shillings and 60 cents. As for the new monthly pay, for a day watchman it's 30,000 shillings, and for a night watchman it's also 30,000 shillings. Moving on to the rural areas, not cities or major towns, the existing pay currently stands at 8,109 shillings and 90 cents for a day watchman and 9,672 shillings and 70 cents for a night watchman. When it comes to the new monthly pay in the same category, it's 30,000 shillings for a day watchman and 30,000 shillings for the night watchman. Failure to abide by the new minimum wage, the person who hires, employs or otherwise engages the services of any private security service provider and pays or remunerates them below the mandated basic minimum wage commits an offence. And as for the penalty, liable to a fine or to both such fine and imprisonment in the case of a natural person and 2 million Kenyan shillings in the case of a corporate.